Thank you very much for showing up. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Dave Nehus. I'm the fire chief here in Vernon. I really want to thank you for your turnout tonight. I also wanted to thank the people that have donated so many things to us and come out to help us, all of these folks that have come to assist us in our time of need, and I really appreciate everybody showing up and helping us out. I'm going to introduce you to Kevin Bailey. He's the information officer for the team that's up here handling our fire for us. Here you go, Kevin.
Thank you, Chief. Again, my name is Kevin Bailey. I'm the lead public information officer on Southwest Area Incident Management Team 4. And basically what we are is we are an interagency team built up of federal, local, tribal, fire departments and land management agencies that come together to manage large-scale emergencies. So we've been called up by the land management agencies, the Fort Apache BIA, and the Apache-Sitgreaves National Forests to come forward and assist them in the management of this incident. So first I'd like to thank the public for coming out. Again, I appreciate your patience and your understanding, and we thank you for being such grateful hosts. You guys have been wonderful in the community, allowing us to come in and take over land and being really patient with us being here. So thank you for that. The purpose tonight is to provide the most current update on the San Juan fire and to answer your questions. Currently, the community of Vernon is not threatened by the fire. I wanted to get that out first and foremost. So I'd like to introduce a few VIPs we have in the audience today. We have State Representative Adam Quasman. We have County Board of Supervisor Barry Whalen. Weller, my apologies. And we also have Apache County Sheriff Joseph Dedman. A couple ground rules. We're going to be hearing today from the incident commander, Matt Reedy, and he's in charge of everything going on in this incident right now. And we're also going to hear from our operations section chief, and he's the one that coordinates the ground and aerial attack of the fire. So we're going to hear from both of them, and they're going to provide brief presentations, but we ask that you please hold your questions until after their presentations, and we're going to go ahead and open that up to the audience. This is a community meeting, so the community will have the opportunity to get their questions answered. And if we have time at the end, we can open that up to the media. But first and foremost, this is for you, the community members, so there will be an opportunity for you to get your questions answered tonight. I'd like to go ahead and turn it over to Incident Commander Matt Reedy, the Incident Commander of Southwest Incident Management Team 4.
Thank you, Kevin. Can everybody hear me in the back there? Awesome, great. Hey, really appreciate everybody coming out tonight. Really didn't anticipate this many folks. Please bear with us. We'll keep it short. We'll try to answer all your questions. First of all, I'd like to say that the folks that were the initial attack on this fire, the tribal resources, the state, all the municipal people that helped us, the folks from the Apache-Sitgreaves, those folks did a really great job on the initial attack and extended attack. They worked some really, really long hours, provided us a really good handoff for this team to come in and really made our first couple minutes here really successful. So the folks that are local here, you all know who they are. When you see them in the communities, you know, please give them a pat on the back because they really did a knock-up job for y'all. So. The second thing that I'd like to mention is that you all made an investment about 10 years ago. You all made an investment in a thing called the White Mountain Stewardship Project right here. And the citizens around this area, in collaboration with the Forest Service, started doing some thinning work just right outside your back door right here. And because of that investment that was started 10 years ago, we're able to employ a strategy of tying into those treatments that were done. All the thinning that was done for the last 10 years has been instrumental in our early success right now. So you'll see on the overhead here, you'll see an area that was treated out there with mechanical thinning. This was some of the thinning that was done out there in the ponderosa pine stands. And the emphasis for this thinning was to make these areas sustainable in the long run, to make these ponderosa pine forests sustainable so they could sustain themselves with fire, because fire is such a critical part of the ecosystem in a pine forest. So the people that were here 10 years ago, all the folks in the community here had such great foresight to be thinking about this. So what we've been able to do is, with the foresight that you all had, is to be able to tie into these areas that were thinned, and we're able to use what we call controlled fire. This would be prescribed burning, but in this case, it's actually what we call a burnout operation, where we tie into, as you can see in this picture, there's a road right along the edge here, and the firefighters are out there right now. This picture is from, about 4 hours ago when I was out on the fire. And firefighters were out there, and they were tying into all these treatment areas along these roads, and they were burning out, and they were holding it. So these are some of the investments that you all made that made it critical for success for us right now. There are areas that were untreated, that were in mixed conifer, very dry forest. Some of these areas were spotted owl habitat areas that were not treated. Unfortunately, what happens in that type of forest condition is exactly what you see right here under a high severity fire. Under a high severity fire, this is what a consequence could be. This is another area off the 96 road. How many people are familiar with the 96 road? Okay? This was taken just this afternoon right off the 96 road. This is the mixed conifer stands that were up there when that fire came across at a very high intensity. So this is an area map, shows the perimeter of the fire, and Buck Wickham, who is our operations section chief, he's going to come up here and tell you a little bit more about the tactical operations that we have that are ongoing right now with over 500 firefighters that we've got on the ground right now trying to help corral this fire. We've been aided today. You can tell that the smoke column is not quite what it was the last couple days. So the weather has helped us out a little bit here. So we're trying to take advantage of that. We're definitely taking advantage of the investments that you all made in those thinning treatments in those ponderosa pine forests. That is one of the really keys to the success for those firefighters. It allows us to get in there, and it allows us to get in there safely. That's really the key. Because if you remember back at those other pictures where that fire went through at a real high intensity, I don't have an option, and I'm not going to make a decision to send firefighters in there to fight fire at that intensity. It's just not safe for them. But what we can do is we can send firefighters in to a ponderosa pine forest that's been thinned, and we can do it safely, and we can have a forest that's sustainable for generations to come. So I'm going to turn it over to Buck. Buck is going to give you some information on the tactical aspects of what's going on with the firefighters. So here you go, Buck.
Good evening, everybody. Well, sorry about that. Did you like the back feed there? That's what you're clapping about? All right, my name's Buck Wickham, and I'm the operations guy. And, first off, I want to talk about how big the fire is. There's been several, stories out there, and quite frankly, with the smoke and the fire and everything, it's hard to get around it. So most of the acreage estimates have been an educated guess until last night. We did have a flight with an airplane that flew over the fire last night and did an infrared imagery of the fire. And as of last night, that plane mapped our fire out at 11:30 last night. It was 3,952 acres. It's pretty darn accurate. So that's how big the fire was. And with the fire that we've added to it today in our burnout operations, I think it's just a little over 4,000 acres. And it will probably be, if we're successful in burning out the perimeters I'm going to lay out, it'll probably be somewhere close to 5, maybe a little over 5,000 acres if we're successful with what we have going, and we think that we will be. So I'm going to start off, and I have a little laser pointer. Here, this little X here marks the point of origin. This is where the fire started on White Mountain Apache land here by San Juan Flat, and it spread. And the dark green is the forest boundary, so that's where it got on the forest. All right, the fire on the Fort Apache land right now, this is a pretty large meadow right here. The fire's looking real good on the reservation land. And then coming around here counterclockwise, we have the fire divided up into 6 different divisions. And each division has a division supervisor that's responsible for those resources on that division. So, we got here yesterday. We took the fire over last night about, I think at 8 o'clock last night. And the vegetation is what really is driving the behavior of this fire. As you get out in the north side, it turns into ponderosa pine. But up here along the forest reservation boundary, it's mixed conifer, which you saw the pictures of what it burns like. It burns a lot more intense. You know, on an average year, you don't see a very high intensity of fire in a mixed conifer veg type because it's usually wet. There's a real high snowpack in there, but as we all know, we didn't have much snow last year, so it is dry, and it is very, very dry, probably close to being record dry for that high elevation. And where we've been having problems with the fire is in this area right here. This is Division Zulu, and then over here in Alpha because it's in that mixed conifer veg type. You've seen this mountain back here, and you've seen us drop a lot of retardant right in here. And where we're dropping that retardant is up in that mixed conifer veg type where it's been a problem. As we get out into this treated area, which Matt talked about, the fire behavior, really, we go from, 200-foot flame lengths, the actual flames are 200 feet tall in this mixed conifer vegetation type, to when you get out into that treated, it drops down to like 2 to 3 foot flame lengths. So you can see it's a dramatic difference. But talking about what the fire looks like now, we had a little flare up here yesterday. We had some long-range spotting. We did get some spot fires out of that mixed conifer, about a little over a mile and a quarter. And so that's something that is a concern to us because when we back off that fire in order to build a fire line, we have to get far enough away from it so that we can encompass all those spot fires in our burnout activities. But we have done that here. We have burnt this fire out right all along in here. It's looking real good now. And yesterday it was really hot and a lot of activity in there, but we've got that taken care of. It's still hot. There's a lot of heat in there. I'm not saying it's out, but we feel real comfortable today. It's held all through the day, through the heat of the day, and so we're feeling real good about that. And then up here on the north east side of the fire, again, we're hitting into those fuel treatment areas, and it's looking really good up there. We are going to do we were going to fall back off to this road here, the 404 road, and burn it out. But because of those fuel treatment projects, we were able to get a lot closer to the fire, and so we put a dozer line in there today, and we're going to burn it out. We're talking about maybe 100 feet off the edge of the fire, so it's no big deal, and it ought to be real easy to accomplish. All right, and then coming around on this side of the fire, right now, right in here is where our main concern and activity is. And you've seen, like I say, all of the fire, the big column of smoke yesterday was coming from that area right here. It's Division Alpha. And that's where you've seen the air tankers drop. We do have 5 heavy air tankers working the fire, as well as 3 heavy helicopters that are dropping on there. Something that, if you look up there right now and you see it, it looks like we're catching the fire and the fire's going out. I want to just let everybody know that what we've been doing is that fire is mid-slope in that mixed conifer vegetation type, and it's too unsafe to put crews halfway up the side of that hill. Plus, the probability of success is minimal up there on the side of that hill in the mixed conifer. So we are going to ignite, just an estimate, another 700 acres below that. We've been using those air tankers to hold that fire until we can get our line, which is a ways away from the fire, completed. And then we're going to apply fire to this area. So that being said, tomorrow afternoon we're going to start applying fire up there on that where those air tankers have been dropping and bring the fire down off the hill. And that will be the last area of the fire that we will need to contain, and then we can start bumping up the containment percentages a little bit. So, be aware that tomorrow evening and probably through the following day, you're going to see another large column of smoke coming up in this area right here, right where, that hill is up there that you can see real visible from town. And that's us doing our burnout. So not to be concerned. Another thing that we're doing is we have structure protection groups here at Carlock Ranch, Red Cabin Ranch, and Whiting Ranch. And we have resources there that are just assessing the needs in case the fire was to reach up there. We feel real confident that the fire won't get there, especially now. We were kind of concerned yesterday, but we feel more comfortable every day that fire won't impact those sites. So I guess to keep it brief, we're concerned right in here. We have done a lot of work. We've got the lines in. We've got the lines completed, and we're going to start burnout operations on that southwest corner of the fire tomorrow. The rest of the fire is looking really good. So, probably in 3 or 4 days, if our burnout works, which we're pretty confident that it will, then we're going to, you'll start seeing the smoke go away completely. We are going to be using a helicopter to ignite some of this area up here in that real steep hillside because, quite frankly, it's just too dangerous to put people up there. And our primary concern on any fire, anywhere you go in the country, is the public and firefighter safety. And we all know what happened about a year ago down there at Yarnell Hill, and that's what we want to try and prevent. So that's our main concern. We want to do it. We want to do it safe, and we want to minimize the impacts to the area here in your backyard. And so with that, I'll go ahead and close, and I don't know what's next on the agenda, but we'll be here to answer questions later on.
Okay, we are going to open it up to question and answer from the community. What we'll allow each person to ask a question just by raise of hand and one follow-up question. We have representatives here from operations, the incident commander, and we'd like to try to keep the questions fire-specific to this incident. If you have questions about the Bureau of Indian Affairs or the forest, we do have representatives here, and you can try to route those questions to them after the fact, if you wouldn't mind. So we'll go ahead and open up for questions. I think it's that.
How many structures have been lost?
The question is, how many structures have been lost? The answer is 0. We've had 0 structures lost and 0 structures damaged. Yes, the fire was human caused and is currently under investigation. The question was, is the fire human caused? And the answer is yes, the fire was human caused, and it originated on the Fort Apache side down in the meadows.